Morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at the Port Coquitlam Community Centre. We are about to unveil these sculptures for Terry Fox, history being made here today on September 13th. At this time, to deliver remarks on behalf of the province of British Columbia, I would like to welcome up MLA Mike Farmer.
Thank you, and welcome everyone to this remarkable occasion. April 12th, 1980, a young man, Terry Fox, from our town, Port Coquitlam, dipped his right leg in the Atlantic Ocean in St. John's, Newfoundland, and started an amazing journey for 143 days, running a marathon a day across this great country. During that journey, he managed to unite our community, our province, and our country because he had a dream and a belief to find a cure for cancer. It was a dream that united this country. Sadly, Terry wasn't able to finish his journey across the country. It ended September 1st in Thunder Bay, Ontario. But that dream didn't end. That dream continued till today. Every year, thousands of people in Port Coquitlam, in communities right across our province, right across our country, and indeed around the world, run in remembrance of his dream, a dream based on belief, on perseverance, on sacrifice for something bigger than he was. Something, find a cure that impacts every single one of us in one way or another. And so today, the unveiling of this statue, a tribute to the legacy, a tribute to the hometown boy, our hometown hero, is something that we should all take great pride in. An opportunity not just to honor Terry Fox, but to ensure that his legacy continues, not just for today, but for decades to come. And one day his dream will be realized and we will find that cure for cancer. So thank you all for being here. It is a tremendous honor. We're in the same class in school. This is very special. What a great place to come from. Thanks very much.
At this time, I would like to introduce the next speaker, Terry Fox's best friend, who drove the van behind Terry as he ran. Incredible perspective. Please welcome to the stage, Doug Albert.
Wow, thank you for coming today. This is wonderful. I figured I should speak once every 45 years in Port Coquitlam. And I thought it was kind of neat that Mike Farnworth was scheduled to speak because Mike went to school of Maryhill Junior with Terry and I in grade 8, 9, and 10. So thanks, Mike. Port Coquitlam, PoCo, Terry Fox's hometown. It was here at the old PoCo Rec Center in early January 1971 at age 12. Terry and I came on sports registration day. Terry and I registered for soccer as we had met on the Aggie Park soccer field at age 10, and we had a great coach, Mr. Ken Alkins. After registering for soccer, a 31-year-old mother of 4, Elaine Kramer, jumped in front of us and convinced us to join the PoCo Pacers, the first certified track and field club in the Tri-Cities. The cost was $1, so that was a good deal. The next Saturday, our first PoCo Pacer practice was held in the Maryhill Junior Secondary Gym, just 500 meters from here. Now it's called the Pitt River Middle School. And Elaine Kramer, a national team sprinter in her younger days, had brought Don Steen, the head coach of the Canadian Olympic track and field team, to teach us that morning. Partway through the practice, the gym doors burst open, and Olympian and world record holder Irene Piotrowski came running in. It was quite the sight, and I'll never forget it. Irene had grown up in North PoCo on a chicken farm and was here to teach us how to run. Fast. 8 months later, Terry and I entered Maryhill Junior Secondary, a grade 8 to 10 school, as grade 8s. Betty and Raleigh Fotts brilliantly had bought the Fotts family home over 3.5 kilometers away from Maryhill, and from any school in PoCo in that matter, because there's no Westwood Elementary School nor Maple Creek back in those days. So this forced Terry to run to school and home every day, 7 kilometers, and if you count that with all his sports, he was doing, I estimate from the age of 10 when he moved to PoCo to age 18 when he graduated from PoCo High, he probably had to run about 20 kilometers a day. So if you wonder how he got in shape to run across Canada, that was how. At Maryhill Junior, we had 2 outstanding teacher coaches, Bob McGill and Fred Tink. They're both here today. Over here. Bob had a master's degree and was a rugby, football, basketball expert. In future years, Bob would become the assistant superintendent of schools for all Coquitlam. And over the last 45 years, he's probably spoken to over 300,000 students in Coquitlam and all over BC. Fred Tink had a master's degree in education and a science degree in kinesiology and was a running and wrestling expert. Fred would eventually become a principal. Fred coached 3 future Olympians at Maryhill, wrestlers Chris Rinke and Steve Marshall and runner Tina Connolly. Plus, he also coached MLA Mike Barber in wrestling. He said Mike was a really hard worker, and he's obviously done that in Victoria for several years. In our grade 8 phys ed class, Bob McGill said any grade 8 who runs 8 laps in 12 minutes gets an A. Well, Terry and I were PoCo pacers, so we ran 8 laps. Bob then ordered us out for the after-school cross-country team, and in those days, he looked like he was 6 feet tall. He was the football coach, and you better listen or watch out. So we went out for cross-country, and when our first race at Blue Mountain Park in Coquitlam was a 20-minute race over muddy fields and hills. We came last. Oh, Terry came last. I beat him. Cross country was a really tough sport. From grade 8 to 10, Bob McGill ran our legs off on the basketball court. In winter, in a fall cross country and spring track, Fred Tate tortured us. By age 15, Terry and I could run almost 10 laps, 4 kilometers in 12 minutes, and were ranked in the top 1% of all high school runners in Canada. Bob and Fred deserved honorary doctorate degrees in torture. Terry would never again run in high school in cross country or track. Once he got over to PoCo High, he stuck to soccer, rugby, and his number 1 sport, basketball. In grade 8, Terry was the worst basketball player on a 33-man team. And that's not exaggerating. I met the 32nd worst guy, and he said he knew only 1 player is worse than him, so he became the manager. Terry was awful at basketball. Coach McGill even suggested he try wrestling. Terry refused. He wanted to play basketball. So he practiced, and he practiced, and he practiced 2 hours a day for 5 years, and by grade 12, he was the best player in all Port Coquitlam. And he went on to become the first graduate of a Port Coquitlam High School to play for the Simon Fraser University Klansmen basketball team. After Terry lost his leg to bone cancer, he became a 3-time national champion in wheelchair basketball with Rick Hansen, and likely would have played on the Canadian Paralympic team had he lived. As an amputee runner, Terry could run a 42-kilometer marathon over 2 hours faster than the world amputee record of the day. On his Marathon of Hope cross-Canada run, Terry averaged almost a marathon of running a day, and he would never walk. It didn't count if he got to walk, so he made sure he ran no matter how much it hurt. And even today, if you look it up, you can't find any amputee in the world to run 143 marathons in 143 days. But Terry realized what the most important thing in life was: giving back. As all of his coaches and teachers had volunteered thousands of hours of his time to help him, Terry decided it was time to sacrifice himself for others through the Marathon of Hope Cross Canada Run for Cancer Research. I will end with Terry's words. I had blisters on my heels and toes. It is like running on hot coals. But I kept going, one step at a time. If I die, I will die happy, doing what I want to do. I am just one member of the Marathon of Hope, equal with all of you. Thank you.
The next speaker that I'd like to welcome up to the stage is somebody who also shares, like me, a passion for fundraising, and for good reason, because she is the niece of Terry Fox. Please welcome up to the stage, Kirsten Fox.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you, Tim. Yes, my name is Kirsten Fox, and Terry and my dad are brothers. I am Terry's eldest niece. And like many of us here today, I never got to meet my Uncle Terry. Terry passed just 6 weeks before my mom and dad were married. So I grew up much like most of us here today, not ever meeting Terry Fox, but learning about him in school. My experience is not unlike children who grew up in Port Coquitlam and across Canada, actually. When I started school, I learned about Terry Fox, the Canadian hero. I read the books, I watched the videos my teachers showed me. We had Terry Fox assemblies and runs in our schools. But at home, I understood more about who Terry was as a person. He's very much like me. He's very much like all of you here today, just from a normal family in Port Coquitlam. Terry and my dad were close in age and close in friendship. I heard about his sports teams and school time, about all their summer jobs that Terry and him had as children and their childhood. And of course, you all got to hear some more stories from Dad here today. So to me, Uncle Terry was a loved one we lost to cancer far too young, and he was missing at our family occasions and holidays. But the stories I heard and the stories that were told all included Port Coquitlam. It's hard to think of Uncle Terry and my family without thinking of the many, many years he and my family spent in this community. While there are no Foxes that currently live in PoCo anymore, it still feels like our home, and it's so important to the person that Terry became. It's an honor to be here today for the unveiling of these new sculptures. My family is beyond grateful for this new honor for Terry. It's been an absolute pleasure working with the city of Port Coquitlam and with the artist Casta Solano. Both have approached this initiative with so much care and so much thoughtfulness that we're so grateful, so thank you. It's amazing to see it come together today and that the community can now enjoy these interactive pieces. And it's exciting to know that visitors can learn more about Terry and the city that raised him. Terry never would have considered himself a giant, as this display will be called the Gateway to Giants. He would have said he was just humble and hardworking. The Terry people most people know had one mission, and that was to fundraise for cancer research. 45 years later, we continue to see the impact of what Terry started with his Marathon of Hope. Terry had an impact on all of us here today. And I hope that the Gateway of Giants will be a reminder of how the city of PoCo had an impact on Terry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kirsten. Speaking about Uncle Terry, and I don't know how many people here the same way that you learned about Terry in the elementary classroom. I mean, how many people you were watching on VHS? Maybe I'm dating myself just a bit there, but that was the case. As I was growing up, learning more about Terry, so thank you to the educators who talk about Terry in the classroom and introduce his legacy to the students in Port Coquitlam and beyond. At this time, as we get closer to the unveiling of the sculptures in just a couple of minutes here, I would like to invite up the Mayor of Port Coquitlam, Brad West.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our incredible Port Coquitlam Community Centre. What a historic day for our community. It's a day I know we will all remember, because this is one of the most meaningful projects that the city has ever undertaken. And I am so proud to be joined by my colleagues on City Council who share the vision and the determination to deliver it So please join me in welcoming Councillor Steve Darling, Councillor Nancy McCurra, Councillor Daryl Penner, Councillor Paige Bechter, and Councillor Glenn Pollock. And Councillor Gene Washington couldn't be with us today, but he sends his regrets. I also want to acknowledge our Member of Parliament, Ron McKinnon, who's joined us today as well. Thank you, and for your time. Today isn't just about unveiling a piece of public art. Today, we're unveiling a story rooted in this city, a story that moved an entire country, and the story that continues to inspire wherever it's told. This Gateway of Giants is not just about size, it's about spirit. An 18-foot sculpture of Terry in motion, capturing his determination, his optimism, his drive. And a life-size statue of Terry as a teenager. This artwork reminds us that before the Marathon of Hope, before the millions raised, before the global legacy, it all began here, on these streets, in our schools, in this neighborhood, in our community. Back in April, we had the opening of the Inspiring Local Champions exhibit inside the community center. And I shared that there's something so special about being Terry's hometown. It's not just an incredible honor, it also brings a responsibility. We don't honor Terry simply by raising statues or naming buildings. We honor him by telling his story and reminding the next generation that you can come from an ordinary place like Port Coquitlam and still change the world. And these sculptures are a part of that story. They are both a literal and symbolic gateway that lead to the exhibits inside this center, where you'll see Terry's school ID, his Marathon of Hope shirt, and his prosthetic leg. They show us where Terry began and where we can all go. And most profoundly, they make us realize he was one of us. I'll never forget standing with my son Liam, who was about 5 years old at the time, and we were in front of Terry's statue at the high school named in his honor. Liam was so interested in learning everything that he could about Terry. So we talked a lot about him, who he was, what he did, and most importantly, why he did it. I'll never remember Liam turning and looking at me and said, "Wait, Dad, Terry was actually from here?" That moment has stayed with me. And I hope many of the parents and kids that I see here today and throughout our community will have those same conversations right here in this plaza with these sculptures, prompting the questions that matter in life and igniting the spark that lights the fire in all of our kids so that they can start their own marathon of hope and make a positive difference in our world. I want to thank Castro Solano, the incredible artist whose work captures not only Terry's likeness, but his heart and his spirit. He did it with care and a deep respect for Terry and our community, and we are forever grateful to him. Thank you, Castro. To the Fox family, Kirsten, Fred, the entire family, thank you for your trust, your partnership, and for sharing Terry with all of us in such a meaningful way. We are so proud of the work that you do every day to carry the torch, and no matter where that work will take you, PoCo will always be home. A project like this doesn't happen without the work and support of a team, and I want to recognize all of those who played a role in bringing this to life. I want to extend a very special thank you to the many city staff who worked so hard on this project, including Glenn Mitzel, Carrie Nemo, Robbie Smith, Leslie Perry, Ian Wind, Carly Delgarno, Dave Kidd, Imena Ibakachi, Jason Davidak, Sarb Atwal, Trent Campbell, Mitchell Guest, Roy Savage, Axel Garrett, Jason Foxon, and Chris Tompkinson. Thank you so much. A very special thank you to our parks team for all their hard work. Your effort in keeping our entire city beautiful is always noticed, and we especially appreciate the extra care that you have given to this area, and it's truly appreciated. To the PoCo Arts Council and community members who were part of the original adjudication and selection process, thank you. To Dustin Diltz from Public Grounds Landscape Architecture for the landscape design, and Brad Michael and Sean Miller from Canadian Landscape and Civil Services Limited for their landscaping, thanks to you. To the Surrey Monument Company for the beautiful plaque, and to Stone Marks Engraving for the inspired words on the benches, thank you. Thank you to the team at Great Northern Way who installed the Gateway of Giants. They were so careful and precise with every detail, ensuring a perfect and seamless installation. Thank you. To Phoenix Truck and Crane for their incredible support in unveiling these sculptures. Thank you for being with us every step of the way for its final delivery. To every hand that touched this project in some way, you have given our city something that will inspire generations, and that's something that you should be incredibly proud of. Thank you to all of you. I invite you to stand before this gateway, look up, reach out and touch the bronze, let the sun, let the light shine through, and remind you that Terry's dreams, just like all of ours, have no ceiling. And remember the words on Terry's gravestone, right here in Port Coquitlam. He made his too short life into a marathon of courage and hope. Thank you very much, everyone.